Okay, my next guest, Monique McDonald, the magnetic voice mentor. Um, I am just so happy to see you, Monique. You always just make us light up. And Monique has a very different background. Um, she's an opera diva, or has been an opera diva, and they called her the magnetic voice. And this is just her story is so incredible. So, Monique, I would love you to just by way of introduction, tell us a little bit of the backstory on how you got to being a magnetic voice mentor.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you so much, Dumont, for having me, for creating this amazing event. Dumont, I consider you one of my power partners. You've helped me in so many ways. And
Likewise.
I'm just thrilled to be here to lend my voice to your summit. I'm so excited for you. This is number 2,
Yeah,
and
I know.
keep going strong.
And we encountered not the same technical difficulties, but we encountered some real meltdowns. So, that's kind of where it is. So I'm looking, hold on just a second. I
Sure.
believe that's okay. Oh, that's Daniel's information. So I will go back and make sure people know about it. But I'm sorry.
No worries.
Your background is so fascinating, that I just love you to tell a little bit of that story.
Sure, I'm happy to. Well, I can start with I was not planning to be a singer at all. My mother was a great singer, and she lived here in New York during the 70s. And all the famous composers, Ned Rorem, Virgil Thompson, Leonard Bernstein, used to use her to share their new compositions with each other.
Wow.
And so she was the famous soprano for these composers, and she would often debut their works. And I heard her voice growing up and really just thought her voice was amazing, shook my very soul. And I never dreamed, although I did sing, I never dreamed that I would be able to sing as well as she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So I actually went into college to become a translator because I had this ear for language,
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the track to become a ambassador
Mm-hmm.
working at the UN. That was
Mm-hmm.
actually, and then I went to college in France and was learning French, and I got discovered because I was hanging out with my friends after school. And they asked me to sing, and I sang. We were in this great bar, and I started singing, and that was the beginning of my singing. And basically, oh, and by the way, if you hear any sirens, we're live here in New York City.
Yeah, and I imagine you hear sirens on occasion. Yeah.
So I went back to Connecticut, where we were living at the time, where my mom was living at the time, to study with the best voice teacher I knew, which was my mother, Betty McDonald. And we started working together, and little by little, I started building my career. I started to get more and more visible. However, I was audition phobic. So
Mm.
I could sing in front of any group of people because that was sharing my gift, and I somehow felt safe doing that. But put me in front of one person or two people to audition for them,
Yeah.
and it was a kind of torture. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to really work on creating that safety for myself and figuring out the tools to be able to strategically walk into these rooms and share my gift and not flush myself down the toilet, so to speak. So what happened was I started to do that more and more and more and more. And little by little, I started to be heard by more and more important people. I just kept sharing. I would sing wherever they would let me.
Mm-hmm.
And Finally, I got picked up by an agent here in New York. I got accepted into Juilliard. I was nominated for my first Grammy, where one of my teachers at Juilliard happened to be looking for a soprano for a recording that he was doing at the Library of Congress.
Wow.
And his partner had just given him the deadline to hire somebody that day. And I walked in, and it happened to be the 50th anniversary of a composer called Ned Rorem, who knew my mother.
Wow.
And so when I was telling him my story, and I said, well, my mother was one of the favorites of these composers, and I mentioned his name, he's like, what? So I was hired to go to the Library of Congress and record the evidence of things not seen. And I was the unknown soprano, and that was my big break.
Wow.
And my first Grammy nomination. So I went on to be nominated for another Grammy, and in the Decca recording of Porgy and Bess.
I was going to say, I thought it was Porgy and Bess.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorites. So.
Yes, me too. I was so lucky and really gifted to be able, it was really a gift, a blessing to be able to, I was hired to do a tour, and it took me literally all over the world. I went to Japan. I went to the Netherlands. I went all throughout Europe. We were in Canada. We were everywhere. And I got to sing Porgy and Bess, one of the main roles, one of the starring roles. And then they invited me to Tennessee to make the Decca recording, which was also nominated for a Grammy.
Wow.
So that is my life as an opera singer. What started happening is I started to get used to auditioning and just to treat it like another performance.
Well, that's just like so many of us when we think about sales, it's that same process.
Yes, exactly.
Understanding that rejection is not, it's not the end of the world, that's you go on to the next one and the next opportunity.
That's right. And how this story sort of ended up and has brought me here to this moment, Dumont, is my mom, after many years of being my best friend and my champion, the person who believes in you when you don't even believe in yourself anymore, passed away. And I'm an only child, and I was devastated because not only was she my mother, but she was my voice teacher and my confidant and my everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do the singing thing without her. And so I was sort of casting about in my grief for who am I now and what's next. And I came across a Netflix documentary about Tony Robbins.
Oh, okay.
And I learned two things that day. The first is that he had a training center where he trained people to coach in the way that he does, in a very specific way called interrupt or strategic intervention. And that was really interesting to me because I was already working with singers at that time. And I know that is something that is really important when you have to stand in front of people and sing, to get that your thoughts engaged in the right way. So that got me really interested. And then the pièce de résistance, as they say, was when I heard his voice. His voice was in such bad disrepair that he could only be on stage for about an hour. And he had been doing, anybody who knows Tony Robbins, he's on stage for 16 hours. And so I saw that he was doing vocal exercises. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm an opera singer. I've been trained to sing in theaters that seat 1,000 people or more with no microphone. And I know how the voice works. So he's getting good information, but of course I have better information. And it occurred to me, what if I get to the next Tony Robbins or the next person that has a big message that can make a huge impact on the world and show them how to create a magnetic aura that draws people in and keeps them captivated, like I had to do as an opera singer on stage. Help them craft and deliver talks and presentations that are both informative and entertaining.
Yeah, and there's a real I don't know quite what to say, but that's a really oh, I'm sorry, Monique. I'm tired. I'm trying to put this together and I completely lost it. So please continue.
Oh, no worries. And I'm here at least for an hour if it comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I get to do is I help people develop their own unique speaking style that sets them apart from the crowd, right? So they can show up and speak authentically with their voice completely aligned to their message. So they sound like the expert that they are.
That's amazing.
So that they are putting out this magnetic aura, this invisible thing that draws people in. Now, you know that my talk is entitled Turn Visibility into Paying Clients.
Yes. And I love that.
I really love this. Is, I've created quite a few signature talks for myself along the years. And as I've helped many speakers create their own signature talks. But I was so glad you actually requested this talk. And I was so excited about that because it is a talk that I love to give, because in this talk that I'm going to be sharing with all of you today, I love to talk about the thing that most coaches and business owners miss when it comes to using speaking to grow their business. When it comes to getting visible, right? So that they can attract their right and perfect clients.
Yeah.
And what that is how to prepare to be seen and heard. It's something that, while we think about preparing our PowerPoint, right? Or figuring out the words that we're going to say when we speak, which stories are we going to use to tell, to illustrate what our content is, or what our invitations are, what our calls to action are. But there's a step that comes before that most people miss. Would you like to hear what it is?
Absolutely.
And if anybody can hear me, please put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what
Charles,
that is? Charles, I love.
Yeah, I'd
her
love to
sing
hear her
now.
sing now. My wife is a GC, and she's taking singing lessons. I suggested that she sing on her construction
A
podcast.
general contractor, I guess that means.
Yeah, how cool is that?
That is so cool. And Charles, I'd love to talk to your wife about this, because this is super important, right? So here's the thing that most people miss, and I'm gonna share it in a specific way. I'm gonna start with a quote that really sums it up. Are you ready for the quote?
Yes.
It only takes one voice at the right pitch to start an avalanche.
Say that again.
It only takes one voice at the right pitch to start an avalanche.
That's powerful.
Isn't that powerful?
Yeah.
And here's the thing. When we are prepared from within to speak, to share our voice, we can create an avalanche of clients and even create a movement. But what most of us miss is the thing that I call priming your energy to be seen and heard. So, for example, before I got onto this call with you, I did my breathing exercise in order to calm my nervous system. Because what a lot of people don't realize is when you take deep breaths, it activates your diaphragm and your vagus nerve and literally lets your whole psyche and body know that you are in a safe space, no matter what. It's the most underestimated, most powerful tool that every single human being has at their advantage. And it is one of the first ways to prepare to be seen and heard. Now, why is this important? This is important because as human beings, at our core, our biology has taught us that it is safer to stay with the herd, to be in the crowd, rather than standing up in front of the crowd. That is the most dangerous place to be.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, Monique, that's true. That's
And
amazing.
so, because that's going on in our unconscious and we're not even aware of it, there is a resistance to visibility, and we fight it, and we we try to push through it. We sort of barrel into our appearances and just sort of white knuckle through without taking the proper measures to create safety within ourselves, so that we can stand in front of people and carry our safety with us. We can,
Just like you did with audition.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I discovered. There are 3 specific things that I'm going to share with you all today that we do, that I had to learn how to do in order to feel safe within myself, to stand in my power and speak. All right. Now, odds are most of you are not opera singers. However,
how did you know? You've heard me talk about, that I have a decent voice, but I have no, I'm tone deaf. So,
well, and that's the thing, I'm always asked, can everybody sing? And my answer is yes.
oh, you think really?
Everyone can sing. Is everybody supposed to sing at Carnegie Hall? No.
That's true. I sing a lot in my car.
There you go. Because singing, like speaking, by the way, makes us breathe deeper, allows us to hear the sound of our own voice, which brings comfort. And we all have music or songs that were sung to us or we listened to. For most of us, when were we the most safe is when we were in our parents' arms. And most of the time we could hear their heartbeat. We could hear the sound of their voice. So in order to create this safety, or in order to prime your energy to be seen and heard, breathing is one of the first things that we do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. The second thing is to adjust our thoughts. Whenever I talk to my clients about this, they're always a little confused because I ask them things like this. So when you felt like you just died in your last talk, you really felt that you did not succeed, that you failed miserably.
Which, I've been there.
Which happens to the best of us, right?
Absolutely.
Happens to the best of us. But here's what, again, we miss. I asked them this question. What were you thinking? It's not something that we really take much time or pay much attention to.
Yeah.
Were you thinking thoughts that made you feel safe and loved and expanded and ready to share your voice and your vision with the world? Odds are no. Odds are the thoughts went something like this. Oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. I hope I can breathe. Oh my God, please don't let me fall on my way up to the stage. Oh my goodness, I wonder what they're thinking of me. Oh, I suck at this. Why am I here? And just notice the tone of voice. And this,
and it is. Those are the stories we tell ourselves. Absolutely.
And it affects our body. And here's the thing, Dumont, is our DNA remembering that biology? Do our cells have the memory of it was not safe to be out in front of the herd? And is that what is causing these thoughts? And here's that's a question that is lovely to ponder. But what is true, and that most people don't realize, and it seems like such a simple thing, but most people don't realize I decide what I'm going to think. Most people feel victim to their thoughts. There's like a running tape of thoughts going on, and we don't realize until it's often too late and we've gotten ourselves into a place where we feel unsafe, or we've made choices that bring that allow life to come in and prove you're not safe. Go back to the herd and hide. Don't be visible. Don't be visible.
Yeah,
Don't be visible.
yeah. It's
Right.
we all have that instinct, you know.
And and this is something I work with my clients on all the time. There's a part that's subconscious, that is biology, that there are stories and life events that happened in our past that sort of reinforced I'm not safe, that
Oh, yeah.
thought. Right. And so our dear and mutual friend, Jackie Simmons, is my mentor, and I'm one of 10 people in the world right now that practices the healing modality that she taught me, which I call Reclaim Your Voice of Power. And it permanently erases trauma and debris left over from traumatic events in our past that show up as limiting beliefs or things that stop us from being our best, especially for being visible.
Yeah, and I know what you're talking about with her work. And she actually worked with me one-on-one at one point, and that's a very powerful tool.
It
You
is.
know, it happens just like that. It's not that you have to keep working at it.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
No effort, no struggle, and it's very effective. So anyone within the sound of my voice, just please reach out. It's something that I feel very strongly about, especially people who are wanting to get visible so that they can attract their ideal clients like a magnet. This work is just every time I watch my clients go through this process, it is like magic.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yes. And it's, I think about my own hesitancies about getting on a stage. And I think we all have times when that's just like, and we focus so much on, well, I forget my lines.
Exactly.
And and we're focused on those mechanics, and it just makes us more nervous and more uptight. And yeah, I'm totally understanding what you're saying.
Yeah. So this is something that's really important to, if you don't do it with me, do it with someone. Let go of those past experiences that you're carrying around that are getting in the way of you being visible. Because if you white knuckle past this and just show up, you won't be you. Right? You'll still be invisible in a way.
Yeah. Oh,
Because
yeah.
you have to put up all these barriers, all these walls in order to feel safe, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of my favorite things to do to help with this, adjusting my thoughts and getting ready to be seen and heard. It's my secret. You want to hear one of my secrets?
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah.
I did it before I came to be with you today, Dumont. I take lots of deep breaths. That's always the first part. And I send love into the room. I send love into the Zoom room. I send love into the StreamYard platform, into my computer. I just consciously send the love and energy from my heart into the room so that whenever I show up to speak, wherever I go, I'm always walking into love.
Wow.
So when I share with people, when I speak in public, I'm always in this divine love bubble, is what I call it. And that's something that is an easy thing that I just want to invite you all to try, because when we feel surrounded by love, and it's our own love for ourselves, nobody can take that from us. And we're always in it, safe. And the added benefit to that is that people can feel it. I talk about the law of vibration. Most people are aware and know all about the law of attraction.
Right. The law of vibration, I don't think I've ever heard of.
Exactly. Most people haven't. And here is the law of vibration as it was stated by Mr. Google.
Good old Mr. Google.
Every living organism, every inanimate object, every thought, every feeling, every desire, every person has a unique vibration unto itself. So, what does that mean? That means that just like music, just like instruments, we can tune ourselves and our voice to love, for example. And when you consciously do that, every word you speak, all the energy coming out of you is imbued with love. So it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter if you forget your lines. It doesn't matter if you mess up, because that energy is the law.
Yeah, I've never thought of that, Monique, but I do know because I have been in the audience before, and people always talk about your warmth and your radiance, and you just, when you talk, people listen. And it's like, hello, I'm in the back of the room. I've watched this. Okay, I've watched this. I've watched how people react to you, and they light up. They light up.
I so appreciate that, Dumont, because although many people think it's a Monique thing, when you start practicing what I'm sharing with you, this is for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
This is for everyone. And the last secret that I would love to share about how to get ready to do this.
I'm sorry, I missed that last.
I said the last secret I'd like to share about how to get ready, how to prime your energy to be seen and heard, or to be visible. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, do tell. Come on, Monique.
Well, one of the things I work with my clients on is their call to action, right?
Yeah.
Selling is, and I know this is also your expertise, right? How to make marketing unmarketing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So that because it makes people so nervous and so weird. And, when it comes time for the invitation or call to action, people just get weird.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because most people have lots of trash around asking for money.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm specifically talking about asking for money, but it's really asking for anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they are so terrified of rejection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've been talking about this earlier today, and it just operates in such a huge, it's like this giant shoe in our lives, just going.
Yeah.
Wanting to hide from everything.
And so this is one of my favorite things in order to deal with that. Instead of looking out to the other person, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? I have to think of, the right incantation or the right sequence of words to get it just right so that they will do whatever it is that we want to do, whatever the call to action is, whatever the invitation is. And what if it's the opposite of, what if it's, I have to connect to the part of me that is a natural magnet to the right and perfect people that not only need my expertise, but really can't wait to hang out and be with, because we're not buying stuff. Nobody's buying stuff. We are buying an experience. We are, as our mentor, Imana Guy says,
who has been mentioned many times over the Iman, your ears must be burning.
Yeah. What we are doing is holding the vision for who they can become. We're holding and that is our job. And that is how we turn visibility into paying clients. Not by selling to them, but by very specifically connecting to the part of us that knows that our expertise can take them where they want to go, can help them. You see, because I think this is another common mistake or misunderstanding. I think that very often we think we can change people's lives. But what really occurs is that we hold space for them to change their own life. I am on a mission to empower thousands of voices with a big message who understand what we're talking about here, Dumont, so that the more of us that understand that what we are doing when we are inviting people into our world, into our business, into our program, we are literally holding space for them to feel powerful enough within themselves to take that leap into their own transformation. And what happens so often, and this is why I created my VIP gift that that I've given for those who are upgrading to VIP. Make sure you upgrade to VIP. I call it Call to Action Magic. And I did a workshop with Kimberly Crow and the crew at Speakers Playhouse. And what happens is at the very time that our potential client needs us the most, which is at that call to action, in that moment where we're holding the space for them to dig within themselves for the gold. Do I have the power within me? Do I have the confidence? Do I have the wherewithal to take the leap into really, truly changing? We check out because we're worried about making a sale. We're worried about, oh my God, I said the wrong thing. Why they're being so quiet? Oh no, let me talk really fast and see if they don't notice that I just tried to sell them something, right? We freak out and get weird. And that is the most sacred moment, to be visible, fully present, because we've prepared ourselves to be seen and heard, and just hold the space, because it's not about us, it's about them. And they're either going to say yes or no.
Yeah, and if you don't let them do that, if you don't give them the space to do that, then they're not going to get there.
Ah, yes. And so here is what I'd like to say to everyone listening here and now present, and who are going to be replaying the recording. And to you, Dumont, the world is in need of strong, authentic voices more than ever.
Absolutely, Moni.
Please speak, get ready, prepare yourself to get visible, so that the people who need you can find you. Dumont, what you do is so amazing. And the way that you support your clients, you go above and beyond.
Yeah, I can't seem to help it. That's what happens with us.
Well, that's who you are.
And that leads our mentor to say, hello, so much of that, but get out there and monetize it, right? Because that's what Monique, and this is not the first time we've spoken. You've been on my talk show several times, and I want you coming back.
Awesome. I'd love to.
Because the message that you bring is not just, here's how you do well on stage. Here are the mechanics, here's how you practice, here's how you do this. It's allowing us to make that transformation, to really step into it. And we need that help. I mean, all of us need that help. And what you do when you are in a room, and I've witnessed it so many times, you light up that room, and you don't have to be on stage. Seriously, you light up the room. And I've seen it over and over at conferences, at other summits, at different kinds of places where we have been or interacted, or I've watched what you've done. And it's just so inspiring.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Dumont. And I just want to say this. I am so grateful that you can see that in me and that it affects you as you say it does. And I also want you and everyone listening today to know that this is not a Monique thing. This is something that everyone can do. And that's what I am here for. This is my purpose. I am here to remind you all of the light that you carry and help
I feel like somebody's stroking me.
Oh,
It's
yes.
just like, whoa, this feels so good.
Yes. Oh, Charles is in a love
I'm in a
bubble
love
too.
bubble
Yay,
too. I
Charles.
love it.
Yes, because whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, whoever you are,
Mm-hmm.
you have something within you that only you can help people because of your life experiences, because of the pain that you've been through, because of all of the things. And even though that's what sets us apart, right? So there are thousands of LinkedIn people, right, that help people
Absolutely.
with LinkedIn,
Absolutely.
but only one Dumont Owen.
That's right.
And so because it's moving through you and your life experiences and your heart and your voice, that is what sets you apart. That's what creates your specific magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
that's what I mean by the magnetic speaker. That's
Yeah.
why I'm the magnetic voice mentor, because what I do is I help people. I don't help them. I remind them of their.
That's so powerful. And my huge thing is personal branding, and what I believe about that. And all of that is part of your brand too. And it's recognizing, that differentiation. I always say people don't buy from you because you're the best. I mean, there are a billion people on LinkedIn. Somebody out there is going to be better. I just have to
Yeah,
say, far as
absolutely.
they work, but they're not me.
That's
I'm,
right.
and that's when people buy. They buy because you're different and you're their kind.
That's right. And Dumont, that's also a reason when I did my market research for the mastermind that I'm launching in January. By the way, I'm launching a mastermind in January.
Thank
To
you for
explore
reminding us.
exactly what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
And although I work with both men and women, the mastermind is for women, and I work with men one-on-one. But
Mm-hmm.
but when I did my research, that was one of the biggest reasons that people stayed invisible, because they kept saying to themselves, there are thousands of people out in the world that do X. Why
Yeah.
would anybody listen to me? Because they don't understand what we've just discussed. They don't understand. Well, the reason why they would listen to you is because you're the one saying it. And when it moves through you and your voice and your life experiences and your heart,
Yes.
that's like a dog whistle
Yes.
to
Yes,
your
exactly.
clients. It's like you create this magnetic aura and you don't want the people that aren't your people to come and work with you.
Exactly.
I know
Exactly.
everybody's like, I work with everybody. No,
No.
no.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I say one thing that really ties into that, and is that you don't have to be famous. You only have to be select famous.
I love that.
And it's so true. I mean, you don't want to appeal to everyone. You can't appeal to everyone. We all know the fallacy of that. And the message that you bring with that is just so powerful. And I want to give you time to talk about your free gift and your VIP gift. I'm going to put the link for the free gift in the chat, but I want you to also talk about the VIP gift.
Okay, for sure, for sure. Okay, so the free gift is one of my favorite things that I do. And all my coaches said, you can't do this anymore, Monique, because it takes too much time and la 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 and la 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 la. Well, here's the thing. I love doing it. So those who are ready, it's a voice of power assessment live
Wow.
with me for 20 minutes. So it's really easy. And I help you get clear on your voice of power.
Mm-hmm.
I help you to get clear about what does that even mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because say the word power these days, people go on a trip. And what I mean when I'm talking about power in this context is that inner voice within you.
And that's a quieter.
Yeah. And it is what really most of us have lost track of, because in this world where there's so much information, there's so many coaches and mentors, and we lose the ability to speak from, relate to others from that place without needing to convince them of anything, without
Mhm.
controlling them, without trying to get them to do something. Because when you are, and we've all experienced it, when you're in the presence of somebody who is connected to that inner voice of power,
Mhm.
you just feel yummy. You're going to leave with clarity. You're going to leave with clarity about
And
and if that's
Monique,
all you get, that's my gift for you, because
yeah.
I am on a mission to empower thousands of voices, which is why, although all my mentors say, give a PDF, give something that is not your time. Well, I get that and I understand that. But right now, it's more important for me to meet people and actually give them my in real time.
Amazing, Monique. You are such a special person, and that's why you're so loved. I mean, seriously. So that is such a great gift. And I know you also have something else for people who are
I
doing
did. I
VIP.
mentioned it earlier. It's a digital recording of
Mm.
a 2-day workshop that I did for Kimberly Crow and
That is the one. Yes,
the
yes, the call
Stickers
to action.
Playhouse crew. And it's all about getting out of the way in order to make your call to action. I call it call to action magic.
Wow. Yeah. And that's just amazing. I mean, it is so difficult. And selling, on screen or on stage or wherever you're doing it in an individual conversation, it is all about that. It is all about, being there for other people and helping them and holding that, as you say, holding that space open. So,
Absolutely.
the combination of you and Kimberly Crow,
Oh my God, we had a blast.
I mean, the woman who says, if somebody hands you a mic, take it, and I don't always take that advice, so I need to, but you are bringing it back to me. Thank you so much, Monique. And we have just like 1 minute, so can I get you to give us just one final?
Absolutely. Don't skip over priming your energy and giving yourself the gift of deep breaths, adjusting your thoughts, and connecting to your heart so you send love into the room before you enter it. Because you are the magic, you are the voice. What are you going to speak into existence today?
Monique, well, first of all, I feel like going up and just cuddling up with the warm room because so much love is spilling out here. But it's just so true. And every time I talk with you, I talk with you fairly often.
Yeah.
Every time I talk with you, I walk away with just this sense that I am loved. I mean, that is really what you impart, that sense that we are loved. And if it's by ourselves, I mean, that's the place we have to start.
Right.
Is loving ourselves. And you bring that message with you every single time. So thank you so much, Monique. I really appreciate it. And I do want to have you back on the show.
I
So,
would love to. It would be my pleasure. And
well,
thank you for your voice, Dumont. We need it.
thank you. Bye bye.